Hi, it's Tara. I want to talk a little bit about motivation today, why it's so hard for some people to make changes in their lives. Lots of people, most people I see in my practice know the things that they need to do to make positive changes in their lives and feel like they're not able to. They feel like they're holding back or they're just not able to take the first steps. And there's lots of reasons why that is. We're creatures of habit and we're motivated either by pain or by pleasure. And so pain can really initiate action. Pleasure can really reward motivation. But at the end of the day, humans are kind of lazy and we don't do well in the lukewarm. So we're able to be uncomfortable, mildly uncomfortable for a really long period of time. If we're not too miserable, we won't make changes. We can kind of withstand the circumstances of our lives and leave them that way. We might not report that we're happy, but there's something in us that either doesn't value our own happiness enough to make any changes to move forward, or we're just not miserable enough to do anything different. That's one of the reasons. If pleasure is also a motivating factor, lots of future pleasure is not as fast as we want it. So we don't want delayed gratification. We want to decide that we want something different and have it the next day. So we're not very persistent as human beings typically, unless things get kind of extreme. And so you see people really make drastic changes in their life when drastic things have happened. So what they want as far as pleasure, what they want as far as the reward is so magnificent. $10 million, will get most people off their couches to go do something and make positive changes in their lives. I know it would for me. And so it has to be that big, but $10,000, maybe not so much. $100, nobody's going to do anything for $100. So the pleasure principle has to be so magnificent that to draw us out of where we are, or we often won't make any changes. So usually what happens is people are more motivated by pain, unfortunately, and not just mild pain, because we know we can suffer through a lot. We can push through and be miserable a really long time. We wait for something to be critical. We wait for some crisis to show up that makes our pain so unbearable we don't have a choice. And unfortunately, this is how most of us are motivated to make changes in our lives. When that happens, it's incredible the motivation that can come out of that we can do to make lasting changes. It's also really hard on the nervous system. You're adding so many layers of activation up into your system that you're overflowing with a medical crisis, an emotional mental health breakdown, something big. Survival-based instincts have had to kick in to motivate you to do something. So your nervous system's already maxed out. What we know is a healthy nervous system supports healthy body and mind, and really is the beginning, and a dysregulated nervous system is the beginning of disease process. So you don't want to reach that level of activation and that level of dysfunction before you start making changes in your life. People will come to me in my practice and talk about wanting to be happier, wanting to come out of depression and anxiety, but not willing to follow any of the treatment plan or suggestions that I'm offering. Some will actually admit that they don't want to get better. What that tells me is that they're not in enough pain to move in their life. So what I want to encourage you to do is recognize that about yourself. How big does the reward have to be? How badly do you want to get better for that to be motivational for you? Or if you're in pain and if you're suffering, if things are not where you want them to be, how much more pain do you need to be in to make changes? How about a different alternative? How about recognizing before it gets critical, before you're maxed out and it's scary, that you want things to be different in your life, and tolerating the persistence and the delayed gratification of moderation to get you into a different place in your life. What that means is that you're going to have to dig in and find your discipline and your own motivation and force yourself. We don't want to. We want to be reactionary. This is about being proactive, making a choice to be proactive in your life, that it's not good enough, that you value yourself, that it's not good enough in this moment to make changes before it's a critical incident, and then you start forcing yourself to do the things that you don't want to do to get to where you want to be. Create a bigger picture in pleasure that's going to reward your efforts. set up small successes that you can celebrate along the way. The brain loves to have something to look forward to, but it also needs those little nuggets of reinforcement, positive reinforcement, pleasure. So you want to create your goals, you want to create weekly celebrations of micro successes and huge celebrations for your bigger successes. But how it's going to start is no one's doing it for you. You're going to have to decide what you want. Don't wait, and force yourself to take the first steps. Once you get momentum, it's so much easier. But you're going to have to do the things you don't feel like doing to get to where you want to be. It's way better to do it now. Much harder if you wait till you're sick. I'm really, really encouraging and passionate about getting some of this started before things get scary for you. So start making lists, start setting goals, surround yourself with motivated people, read motivational books, and get psyched for your life so that you can start doing the things that you need to do to get where you want to be. Force yourself. It's going to happen. Until next time, I hope you're well.